What if the most emotional comeback of the season still ends with a player admitting he's torn because joy and disappointment showed up together? Monday night in Indianapolis didn't feel like a normal football game. It felt like a reunion, a celebration, a reminder of a quarterbacking era that doesn't really exist anymore. Philip Rivers, 5 years removed from the NFL and fresh off coaching high school football, walked back onto an NFL field at age 44 and immediately reminded everyone why he was so respected. He changed protections at the line. He diagnosed coverages before the snap. He played the position with command, timing, and confidence that younger quarterbacks still struggle to replicate. For a while, it worked. Rivers came out sharp, delivered early touchdowns, and had Lucas Oil Stadium fully bought in. The story wrote itself. The veteran comes back, plays clean football, and proves he still belongs. Cameras lingered on his expressions. The broadcast leaned into the nostalgia. Fans leaned into the moment. But quietly, almost politely, the San Francisco 49ers were dismantling the script. While Rivers was drawing the attention, Brock Purdy was doing damage. No theatrics, no emotion, just precision. Kyle Shanahan's offense kept applying pressure in waves, play action, quick hitters, seam routes, and perfectly timed red zone calls. By the time the game reached the second half, the emotional energy in the stadium was still alive, but the football reality had shifted, and then it flipped completely. Purdy threw his fourth touchdown early in the third quarter. That was the moment the game stopped feeling like a feel-good comeback and started feeling like a warning. Every time the Colts tried to respond, San Francisco answered immediately. No hesitation, no panic, just execution. Purdy finished the night with 5 touchdown passes in a 48-point offensive explosion. It was the best game of his career and one of the most overlooked quarterback performances of the season because of who was on the other sideline. The defining play came late. Rivers, who had avoided mistakes all night, finally forced one. The ball went straight into the hands of linebacker D. Winters, who returned it 74 yards for a pick six. That play didn't just end the game, it ended the illusion. The comeback story didn't fail because Rivers wasn't good enough. It failed because the opponent was simply better. After the game, Rivers didn't hide from that reality. "I'm torn on how to express it," he said. "It's been a blast. It's been a blast to prepare and go get ready and warm up with these guys again. But the name of the game is not to have a good time. It's to lead your team to a win. And we've come up short." That's the line that lingers. Rivers completed 23 of 35 passes for 277 yards and 2 touchdowns. He kept the Colts competitive early. He gave them belief. But football doesn't reward nostalgia. It rewards execution, depth, and balance. And the Colts didn't have enough of it. Defensive breakdowns piled up. Special teams mistakes didn't help. And once San Francisco seized control, there was no path back. For the 49ers, this was bigger than one win. They've lost stars, they've absorbed injuries all season. And yet, here they are, sitting at 11 wins, still alive for the NFC West crown and even the number 1 seed. Shanahan has built an offense that can carry them, and Brock Purdy is proving he's more than just a system quarterback. He's a difference maker when it matters. This loss also sent shockwaves beyond Indianapolis. The Colts' defeat officially clinched playoff spots for the Bills, Jaguars, and Chargers. One game reshaped an entire conference's postseason picture. That's how thin the margin is in December. And yet, despite all of that, this night will still be remembered for Philip Rivers. Not because he won, not because the comeback was perfect, but because he reminded everyone what quarterbacking used to look like, and admitted, honestly, that love for the game doesn't soften the sting of losing. So now the question hangs in the air. Was this comeback a celebration or a painful reminder that even legendary competitors can't outrun the scoreboard? And if this really is the final chapter for Philip Rivers, what does it say about the league? That a 44-year-old fresh off the couch could still outthink so many defenses, even if he couldn't outscore the future. That tension is the story that won't go away. Nobody talks about this part of a comeback story, the part where the joy doesn't erase the disappointment. Because on Monday night, Philip Rivers did something almost impossible. He stepped back into an NFL huddle after 5 years away, played winning caliber football, and still walked off the field knowing it wasn't enough. Rivers has always been respected. Teammates loved him. Defenders hated playing against him. Fans argued about his legacy for years. But this return, at 44 years old, pushed him into a different category entirely. Not just respected, revered. From the opening drive, it was clear this wasn't a novelty act. Rivers was in full command. He was sliding protections, calling out coverages, manipulating defenders with his eyes. This was old-school quarterbacking, the kind you don't see much anymore. And for a while, it worked. Indianapolis moved the ball. Rivers delivered throws with anticipation and touch. The timing was sharp. The confidence was real. For stretches, it felt like the Colts had unlocked something they'd been missing all season. But here's the part that hurts. Rivers didn't come back for the applause. He didn't come back to relive memories. And he definitely didn't come back to look good in a loss. That's what made his post-game words land so heavily. "I'm torn on how to express it," Rivers admitted. He talked about how much fun it was to prepare again, to warm up, to be in the building with the guys. But then he said the quiet part out loud. That's not the name of the game. The name of the game is to win. And they didn't. Statistically, Rivers gave them everything you could reasonably ask for. He completed 23 of 35 passes for 277 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and even that came late when the game was slipping away. Early on, he held the Colts together. When the defense started leaking yards, when special teams made mistakes, when momentum began to swing, Rivers stayed calm, he stayed aggressive, he stayed himself. And that's where the deja vu creeps in. Because if you've followed Philip Rivers' career, this story feels painfully familiar. Playing well enough to win, competing at a high level, and still watching things fall apart around him. That's not an indictment of his teammates. It's just the reality of how his career unfolded more often than people like to remember. This comeback didn't rewrite Rivers' story, it reinforced it. What makes this return so meaningful isn't just that he proved he could still play, it's that he proved something about the league itself, about how quarterback development has stalled, about how experience, processing, and command still matter, maybe more than ever. After 5 years away, Rivers didn't look lost. He didn't look slow. He didn't look overwhelmed by modern defenses. If anything, he looked prepared in a way younger quarterbacks often don't. And that's why this hurts, because even now, even at 44, even with the rust and the mileage and the jokes about being grandpa, Rivers believes the standard hasn't changed. Win. Or it doesn't matter. This wasn't a farewell tour. This wasn't a gimmick. This was a competitor who still measures himself the same way he always has, by the scoreboard. And if this really is the end, it won't be remembered as a victory lap. It'll be remembered as proof. Proof that Philip Rivers belonged. Proof that his career deserves Hall of Fame conversations. Proof that his impact went far beyond rings and records. Even if the Colts miss the playoffs, even if this return doesn't end the way fans hoped, something unexpected happened. People didn't just enjoy watching Philip Rivers again. They believed in him again. And now the uncomfortable question hangs in the air, not just for the Colts, but for the league as a whole. If a 44-year-old quarterback can still do this, what does that say about how the NFL is really developing its future?